everyone, it's Chelle from Chelle Crochet. Let's talk about hooks. Let's talk about hooks, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good hooks and the bad hooks that may be. Let's talk about hooks. Hi everyone, how are you today? It's Chelle. Welcome back to Chelle Crochet. I was tagged by my friend Crystal at Ricola's Crochet Corner to talk to you about hooks. And we both kind of heard about this tag from Petra at Petra's Happy Place. And Petra heard about it from her friend Keto Marnie. So let's talk about hooks. Okay, question number 1. What is your favorite brand of hooks? My favorite brand of hooks is Clover Amour, and I have 2 full sets of them. I'm going to go through all the questions before I start showing you stuff in case what I was going to show you comes up in the questions. So we'll go from there. What is your favorite hook size? My favorite hook size is going to be 7mm. Do you prefer tapered or inline? I prefer tapered. More about that later. How do you grip your hook? Pencil or knife grip? I'm a total knife grip hook person. Does the style of hook dictate how you crochet? No, it doesn't. I crochet the exact same way all the time because I use pretty much the same hooks all the time. And prior to using my Clover Amours, when I used metal hooks, I still crocheted the exact same way. Do you prefer ergonomic hooks or regular hooks? I prefer ergonomics. Ever since I found Clover Amour hooks, I have not turned back. What are your thoughts on light up hooks? I was gifted a set of light up hooks from my bestie, and I think it's a great concept, although the light up hooks are plastic and I feel like I'm going to snap them. So I keep them in my crochet kit that is in the car. So I'm going to pop up a couple pictures here because I also think that they're an awesome idea for some kind of an emergency kit because they give you everything you need. You have the light automatically, and then you have your full set with you. So there they sit for me, should I ever run into a situation where I need to grab that crochet kit out of my car. And just as an aside, practically speaking, my neck light provides me much better light than the actual hook would. But the main reason I don't use them very much is because my Clover Amour hooks are much more user-friendly for my hands with my arthritis. And because I feel like, honestly, if I was to crochet with them the way I normally crochet without thinking about it, that I could snap some of the shafts of those hooks. Have you ever used a crochet hook with interchangeable heads? No, I have not. Do you like projects that require the stainless steel tiny hooks or large hooks? Larger hooks all the way. If you were only allowed to use 2 hooks for the rest of your life, what 2 hooks would they be? This one I really had to do some serious thinking about because of all the different types of projects I like to make, and it's going to be really painful. I feel like I could answer this a lot better if I could pick 3, but if I could only pick 2, I would have to pick a 5.5mm and a 9mm. Those would be my 2. If I could pick 3, okay, I won't. All right, so then let's do some show and tell. So first of all, let's go from smallest to largest. I do have a set of steel hooks. My husband grabbed these for me at Walmart one time. They are Love Knitting, and they are super tiny and super sturdy for thread. And, oh, here, right there, good. They go from 0.75mm up to a 2mm. And so there are 6 hooks in there, and I have played with them a little bit. It's not super easy to use them because I'm so used to using the Clover Amour hooks, but I do have them. I also have a couple of what I call vintage hooks, so I'll grab them for you. I used to have more, but once I got 2 full sets of Clovers, I decided to gift a whole set of some older hooks to a friend, and I also donated some to charity. So for nostalgia's sake, I did keep this 4.5mm. Just gonna hold this up so you can see better because this is take 2. There, that's a 4mm. And then I have this 5mm. Sorry, that was 4.5, and this is 5. And those are like the vintage old style rounded gray hooks. It says made in England on the back of one of them and nothing on the other. And these are both my style of hook. Now I was joking with Petra because of this whole idea of what inline is and what tapered is. I only go by the way the hook itself looks, the actual top of the hook. I need mine to be pointy at the top and pointy at the bottom and not flat like they look like they're cut off. And to me, those ones are what I always have known as what I didn't like. And the reason was I had one hook that was like that in these vintage hooks and I never ever used it. Now this is super tiny. So let's see if we can get my blue case back. So this is a bamboo hook that came in a kit my husband got me. So that is the kind I don't like, where it's flat and looks cut off to me. So like even my hugest wooden hook, which I'll grab in a sec, is like that. And as soon as I see those, I know I don't like it because it doesn't look like there's enough room under there in the actual hook part for the yarn. So that's what bugs me about that. I forgot to grab this earlier, and when I just went to grab it, I was curious how much stuff was going to fall down off my shelf. Only 2 things fell, so not so bad. So these are how my big hooks sit. This is the last little bit of that Bernat blanket extra, the hugest one, the one I hate. Anyway, so I had got this one because it called for a 25 millimeter, but like you're supposed to use this hook for this huge yarn, and there's like barely any room for the yarn to actually sit in there. So problem for me. And then the only other huge hook they had there at the time was this one. It's plastic. The shaft is way too short for something this big, but look how much room. Tons and tons of room for the yarn, right? So that's how I've always described it, because I know when people talk about it and they show these parts in here, to me, they don't always look the same. So whether that's just my brain over processing or under processing, I don't know. But I just know I like a point up here and a point down there and room for my yarn in between. And I can always identify that by the way the hooks look. And so that bamboo little guy is the only other one I have that's like this that we don't like. But they make great decorations. Okay, so on to the faves. I have 2 full sets of Clover Amour hooks and a couple extras. So my 2 extras are the huge ones, which are the PQ hook, which is considered 15 millimeter, and then the 12 millimeter, beautiful colors. And then, like I said, full sets of all the others. And let me just check what the smallest is. All right. Okay, so after I gave away all of those hooks that I wasn't going to be using anymore, I did keep a full set of metal hooks as backup. So these start at 4 millimeter and go all the way up to 10 millimeter. And I have pulled them out on occasion, but honestly, barely. Sometimes if the shaft on the Clover seems too short for a really thick yarn project, I will try with these, but they hurt my hands in comparison. So they're just pure backup. And now I grabbed my Clovers. So I do have 2 full sets of the ones that come in the package. So let's just see here. So the smallest is 2.25. Then you have 2.75. Then you have 3.25, 3.5, 3.75, and then 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, and 6. So this is what comes in the set. All right. And my sets are, I guess, 2 and 3 years old respectively, maybe even heading into 3 and 4 years old respectively, from Amazon. And they were in and around $55. I think I paid like $56, $57 for the first and around $54 for the second. That's pretty much the best price in Canada that I've seen. The sets previous to this past year of craziness, the sets would be available at Michael's. They'd have like one out there because I think they're just doing preventative maintenance on trying not to have them go anywhere. But they'd have like one pack out there. Usually it looked a little damaged, but anyway, and it would be $100. So back in the day when you could get the coupons, they used to have sometimes even 50%, occasionally, rarely more than that, but 50% would come up every now and then. They always had 40. You could apply those back in the day. So I don't know if that will come back or if 30% is good enough, because that's what they have right now. But the reason I know that is, so when we go to our bigger sizes, my two 6.5s and my two 7s came from Amazon, and I paid in and around $10 to $12 for them. I just watched for when the prices would toggle up and down, and I purchased it accordingly. You can see the yellow one is very tinted from using black velvet yarn. And the 8, 9, 10, 12, and 15s were all purchased individually over a period of about 2 years at Michael's using coupons, probably, if I know myself, using 50% off coupons. So I took my time getting the bigger hooks. And, you know, again, I collected an entire set first, and then I went back and collected a second set. The reason for me having the two sets is at the time I had two places where I crocheted consistently pretty much every day, and it was just easier. And then this last year has happened, and now both of my sets are with me all the time. Anyway, so just one last thing, I guess. I'll show you with the big hook because it's easiest to see, but this is exactly how I hold my hook all the time. So if I'm going to turn for you, my thumb is on the flat part and I hold my hook like that. And those people who've seen me on Zoom crocheting, I do wear our hand wrap, but it's got nothing to do with these hooks. From way before that, I got in a bad habit of just rubbing my metal hooks on the side there, so my hand's just used to it. So now I have that. But yeah, so, and I don't know, so when I first found out about the Clover Amour hooks, it was from Jada and Stitches, because she had gotten some, and based on her recommendation, that's when I got my first set from Amazon. And other than being disappointed that it only stopped at 6, I was super happy. And the only other thing I would point out that so that's the difference between the 6 and the 6.5. You could just say that the entire hook part of the hook is taller, and that hook is only a half size up. So let me compare the 5.5 and the 6, because I bet you it's not. So your 5.5 and your 6 are pretty much exactly the same height. So it would have just been great had Clover Amour decided to make everything as tall, at least as the 6.5. It just would give you some more room. Because yeah, mine is hitting right there when I keep my thumb on the, right? So, and I know people have different size hands, and so if you have smaller hands, it's probably more ideal. But yeah, like, I mean, things can always improve. But how I am about that is that Clover Amour is basically the highest price point I want to go to for my tools. And B, once I find something that I really like that works really well for me, I don't like messing around with that. So I have no need to try other things. I don't see my hooks as like a collection or things like that. I just see them as my tools. So that's why you don't see a lot of fancy different looking hooks from me. Anyway, I think I have kept you long enough, but it is my turn to tag some people. I would like to tag Ella from No Catchy Name Crochet. I would like to tag Rosie from Nona's Stitching Lounge. I would like to tag my friend Debbie from the Canadian Crocheter. And I would like to tag Nicole from Alpaca My Yarns and Crochet Matt's Designs. I'd also like to tag you. This tag is relatively new. At least I'm getting on board with it a lot sooner than I did the last. So if you haven't had a chance to do this, please join us, because it's fun to hear how we all work with our tools and our yarn when we're talking about crochet, right? Okay, everybody. Thanks, Crystal, for the tag. Thanks, Petra, for sending this around. Thanks for spending this time with me. Have a great day and happy crochet. Bye for now. I'm back. Just a quick note to let you know this poncho is several years old. It's made with scraps of shawl in the ball. It is a dream because it is so drapey and lightweight, and it's super colorful because it's all scraps. So just graded squares. And then I had to modify it because I wanted the sleeves to come down a little bit further, but I just sort of fixed the sides as much as I could to make them work. So I figured someone might be wondering, so my poncho.